to Wales. Wales through a goal, slots it beyond Fodringer, and the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box for Doffin, he can hit them, and he does. McGoffin has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their championship status for next season.
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast, and we've got another week where nothing really has happened. I don't know about the club. I don't know about fans, but from guys who are trying to make a podcast to talk about, the club are making it really, really difficult to get an hour's worth of talk out of this. But we'll do what we can. We will talk about the friendlies, talk about the signings or lack thereof, a couple of trialists. We will also be hearing from a Nottingham Forest, from Mr. Dorr, who is a Norwich content creator. We will be hearing from him. He's going to give us a lowdown on Cafu, which I thought I spoke to him. I thought was interesting. We will hear from him halfway through the show, probably. When we run out of things to talk about, I'll just put it on. So, soon. Mick is with us, first of all. How are you doing, Michael?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
I'm very, very good. Thank you. Benjamin, how's it going?
Going good, yeah, I'm all right.
There's people already commenting about you, Ben. I'll ignore one of them. Tom's back with us as well. How are you going, Tom?
Yeah, I'm good. Starved of football, which is never good, but other than that, all good.
We've got Loja in the comments. I'll start by John Morrell says, Ben's back. The football intelligence has suddenly increased. There we go. Sorry, Ben. So, yeah, a little bit to cover tonight, and we'll see where it takes us. Let's start with the friendlies, Mick. 2 since we last recorded. The 2-0 loss. 2-0 loss to Middlesbrough, and a 4-2 win away to Mansfield. The Georgie Kelly hat-trick. And I think Andre Green, who was trialist, scored the first one as well, if I'm remembering correctly. Still irrelevant, though, aren't they?
Well, I mean, it's a typical Rotherham United roller coaster week, isn't it? I mean, we were relegated on Wednesday, promoted on Saturday. It's just been amazing, mate. As per. It means no, does it? It means nothing at all to anybody, It just is what it is. It's just game time. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less, in my view.
Yeah.
Covered that. Do you want to move on to what else before we go?
Yeah. The good thing, what I take out, Tom, is Georgie. I think for strikers, for me, they're a little bit like a batsman in cricket. They need to get goals or runs or the equivalent. And when he gets 3, although it doesn't mean anything because it's a friendly, that's a really good sign when it actually means something that is almost ready. Yeah,
well, it's a hat trick as well, isn't it? So it's like it always boosts confidence, doesn't it? And his interviews are really promising. Every time he gets interviewed, it's always how he wants to do more and be better. So it's always positive. But with it's tough with Georgie though, because it's a step up in it from League 2 opposition to Championship, and it's pre-season as well. So who knows how it'll be? But you are right, and it's worth giving him a look for the rest of the season now, whether it's with with whoever's playing Hugill or whoever, or if it's impact sub. Or I'd like to keep him. I think he's our most natural goal scorer in the club. Personally, very, very good player.
Yeah, I agree. Sebastian Jerome says, "Oi, oi, tash on the lad," which is Ben.
But you've got the same one, Matt. I'm not turning grey, by the way. I saw that. I'm not turning grey. Better not be anyway.
Well, yeah, you better not be your age. Ben, as a person who is aspiring to be a professional athlete, ideally, talk to me about these warm-up games, friendly games. What are your thoughts and feelings, and what we can take out of what and things like that?
I think for the team, I think they're really important. I think if they didn't have them, it would be you'd have an awful start to the season, because you need to get into things. You need to get used to being in a game and playing in a game, playing in front of a crowd. Obviously, it's not a proper crowd, I guess, but it's playing in front of a crowd. So it's so important for the team. But as far as the results, it's hard really, because you don't know whether they're trying something new or they're just giving people runouts or they're actually playing the strong team, because they will play the actual first best 11 in some teams because they need to get used to playing with each other. So it's really hard to tell, to be honest. But one loss, one win. I guess that's all right. I guess that's not too bad. And a hat trick. So
yeah,
you can't really tell.
50%.
No, you can't. I agree. And a lot of if you look at the starting lineup, particularly from the Mansfield game, Mick, I mean, there's still kids in there. I mean, we all think pretty highly of McGuckin and DeRose in particular. There's a good chance they're not going to be with us for the season. So, particularly the Mansfield game, is you're looking at it and saying, well, with another 2 trialists in, they both might not even be at the club. So you're talking almost more than half the team might not be with us on day one.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was pretty much the same against Middlesbrough as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So
similar, yeah.
you know, as Ben says, it's just a question of getting some minutes into the players' legs, isn't it? And as the pre-season friendlies progress, you know, we've got Sheffield United coming up on Tuesday. We've got Lincoln, I believe, next Saturday, and then another behind closed doors one on the following Tuesday. So I think as these next 3 games progress, we'll start to see more of the first choice players starting to play. Given the fact that Hugo's ill at the moment, he's obviously not featured very much, and a couple of other lads have been nursing a few sort of pre-season niggles. So, but I think as we progress now through these next 3 games, we'll start to see more of what's likely to be a starting 11, and possibly we might get an idea as to exactly how we're going to play. So, but yeah, I can only echo what Ben said and Tom said, and you really, you know, we can't really take a great deal from them other than the fact that, you know, it's just getting minutes into players' legs, and results are pretty much irrelevant unless you go down 13-0 to Mansfield last Saturday. Then obviously it might be a bit of an issue, but you know, that's not the case. So I'm comfortable with it. I'm comfortable with what we've done so far. But the big test is a fortnight as yesterday, isn't it? You know, so we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking at the starting lineup, you've got Jamie McCart, who might not be here. He wasn't fancied. Cafu will obviously be here. Georgie Kelly will still be here. Peltier and Sean Morrison. The rest of the squad, one's a second choice keeper. There's 2 trialists in there. Bowler's in there, and then DeRose and McGuckin. So a lot of that team is not going to be there at the start of the season in an ideal world. So yeah, let's wait and see. Public service announcement. Russ Vernon says the Lincoln game is on their iFollow for £5. If somebody's not going next Saturday, Lincoln, which I imagine will be most of us, £5 into Lincoln City's iFollow, you'll get to watch it. Great work by Lincoln. Thank you very much for that, Russ. Yeah, so let's move on. John Morell says early pre-season agree. Last few games, though, you mostly set what you were saying, Mick.
Yeah.
Some of the patterns of play out and things such as that, which is fair enough. Let's move on to sort of transfer business rumours. Shelley says, what do you reckon out of Billy Sharp? Would you still wait around or just sack it off and say he's had enough? Tom, for me, it's one of those things that if you haven't got a better option in, you wait. And then if you get a better option in, then you say, oh, sorry, we've signed somebody else. It don't feel a big deal to me. I don't know.
Where is it? Did you read that article that Paul Davis put out that seems like we are looking at other strikers now?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
In that case, it seems like Taylor's not too fussed. I think if it was absolutely a must-have Sharp, then he'd wait it out. He might contact him again, or this, that, and the other. But he's waited so long now that it's disrupting what we're doing, because obviously Taylor, I don't know what the issue was, but he wanted 2 players in by this by the time we played Mansfield yesterday. So and the fact that they're both not in, you got to assume that one of them might be Sharp, and the fact that he's not in is kind of disrupting the flow of the rest of the preseason. So if he's not making up his mind, make it up for him and just say, look, we know you've got other options. We're going to look elsewhere if you can't decide. On having him in the team, probably good, but having him in this squad, first 11, would it be an upgrade? I don't know. So in terms of that, if you're looking at him as a squad player and a kind of leader in the dressing room, holding out for a player for that long just for that, it's probably not worth it. Whereas if you're looking at another striker who's going to come in and rival Hugill and Kelly and be kind of a different outlook, a quicker striker or more of a getting behind striker, then I'd say put all your resources into that. But we'll see. I'll keep saying it to anyone who on that RUFC Twitter thread on Twitter. You just got to trust Taylor because he knows what he's doing. And if it comes to November and it's clear he doesn't, then I'll eat my words, because at the minute he absolutely looks like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, there's 2 points there that which I think are also important. Parameters for me, he's running out of pre-season time, and the more likely this goes on, the less likely it is. John Morrell says they don't really get the Billy Sharp thing. It reminds me of Deeney for Birmingham last season. Not been involved in pre-season, will take ages to get up to speed and hardly feature. And that's another thing, Ben. This is not somebody who's at another club who we're trying to bring in who's had a full pre-season and is fully up to speed. This is a guy who is the latter end of his career, who I'm sure is doing personal training, but that's completely different to being 2 weeks away from being ready to play a competitive game. So that maybe goes into the thinking as well.
I don't really know are we just like trying to agree contract? Is that
basically we've offered him a deal? Yeah.
So we have. All right. What question?
Does the fact he's not had a full preseason with a football club?
Oh yeah, 1,000,000%. Well, it obviously depends on him. He's had probably nearly 20 pre-seasons as a footballer, so you don't know how well he prepares by himself. But the obvious answer is no. I don't think he will be ready. And like you said, I don't know how much he would feature. I don't really know. I don't think because obviously he didn't play that much last year. I don't really know how good he still is.
Kelly got more goals than him, didn't he?
But the thing is, it was in a really good squad. Obviously, last year got promoted, and he's obviously not top end championship anymore. So it's kind of hard to know how good he actually is. Obviously, he still believes in his ability if he's holding out for another contract.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one because nobody knows what's happening. Moving on to the
on
other
and off about 5 times, hasn't it?
I know. It's crazy. The other one that's been on and off about 5 times is Christ Taihi, I think is how you say it. It's probably not, but that's what we're going with. He was photographed on Wednesday night at the Middlesbrough game. He has been in the rumour mill for 3 or 4 weeks, man. It's been quite a while he's been in the rumour mill. Matt Taylor essentially said that everything is basically agreed from what I took from Matt Taylor's comments. I assume from a fee point of view with I think Slovan Liberec or something like that. He's with. I assume that's going to assume that sort. You're going to assume the wages are agreed, but it's basically a work permit issue, which is going to happen with international transfers, as you expect. We don't know much about him, Mick. But what are your general thoughts on? He clearly thinks it's so really important to go through all these hoops. Matt Taylor clearly thinks it's really important to get this done.
Yeah, absolutely. And from the bits and pieces you read, it looks like he's a decent player and will be a decent addition to the squad. So for me, I'm looking forward to seeing him. Should hopefully, as long as we can get it over the line in inverted commas. It sounds to me the noises coming from the club are that it's just paperwork essentially now, rather than anything else. So it sounds like it's a done deal. Whether it is or not, obviously, until he's wearing that red and white shirt, we won't know, will we? But it certainly sounds that way. And like I said, the bits I've seen and heard of him, it looks like a quality addition in that midfield again. So, we're building from the back, and with him and Cafu in there, in addition to the likes of Rathbone, Wiles, Odoffin, Lindsay, it's the midfield is now starting to take shape. So Georgie Kelly is done what Georgie Kelly did on Saturday, except the friendly against Mansfield. But Georgie Kelly scores goals. So we've already got a bit of a backup there for Hugill, albeit inexperienced. I've got big hopes for Georgie Kelly. I really have.
Yeah,
and I know it's a bit sort of, it feels a little bit fanciful, given his sort of route to where his route toward the Championship football. But you know, we've all watched football for a long time, and you just recognise a goal scorer when you see one. And Georgie Kelly is whatever else he does throughout a game, he will score goals. There's no doubt about that. He will score goals. So for me, if you couple that with a Billy Sharp rumours, I would like to see Billy Sharp come in, not necessarily to play, because people like Georgie Kelly, possibly Josh Coyote, will learn a lot from a man with that experience. So we'll have to wait and see. But in terms of Tahihi, I'm not going to be able to say that, am I? I'm quite interested to see what he looks like fitting into that midfield. But it feels to me like it's starting to take a little bit of shape.
Is he a holding midfielder then?
Honestly, I don't know.
I think he's more of a creative type, is my sort of understanding, but I don't know. I think Cafu is more sort of
he's an attacking,
combative midfielder. I don't think this lad is, but you know,
soon when he gets signed up, we'll try and get something from Wigan on to give a bit more breakdown. But worth noting, it is a permanent deal as well. This isn't a loan.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Matt Taylor talked last week about there being a loan coming and a permanent player. This is the permanent player. So there is a loan somewhere that nobody knows about. People, I don't know if the in the know guys want to share it with us. Who might be.
Hard to pinpoint which ones.
But yeah, he's the permanent guy that's apparently coming in. So hopefully that gets sorted sooner rather than later, because you want him playing minutes. Which is the same with the Billy Sharp thing. You want him having a competitive pre-season, which would be really, really important. To go back to Billy Sharp, Will Daniels says, R.E. Sharp, no player's bigger than the club. He's had his opportunity to come here. He hasn't taken it. 2 goals in 1,500 minutes last season. Wouldn't start games. Time to move on. There's quite a lot of arguments against. There are some for him, but there's we're not making decisions, so it doesn't matter, does it?
Given, despite what I've just said about, I would like to see him come in. It would be more for the experience within the squad rather than anything else, you know. And if he's not interested, he's not interested. See you later, mate. You know, I don't see why we would go chasing him, and I'm not convinced that we have gone chasing him. To be honest,
I don't think we have. No,
I think we've just said, here, this is what we're offering. You please yourself, mate. Come and let us know.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, that's fine. I don't think it's so difficult, isn't it? You know, with social media being as it is, you know, a story kind of takes root, and then everybody else adds branches onto it, and you're not really sure what bits to believe and what bits not to, and not sure, but we'll see what happens, won't we, on that one?
We will. I was doing a sort of list of the squads last night, Tom, of our current squad, and if you had Tahihi into there, the centre, we've got about 6 centre halves, including McCart, who may or may not stay, and we've got about 6 centre halves, 7, I think, if you count Peltier. And the midfield, I think if you had Tahihi in there, you're talking 6 or 7 central midfielders. So you've got a real good spine, but we've got 1 left winger, 1 specialist left back, 1 right back in Peltier, and 0 right wingers. 0 who can even fill in at right wing.
Yeah.
So we've looked great centrally. I think we're basically going to have to Tahihi, maybe a striker, but we are desperate for something out wide in all areas out wide.
Yeah, and I think that's something that everyone's taken away from the friendlies as well. And I think if we're taking it away, then Taylor's taking it away as well. It's just that we're not creating. And I know that Kelly scored a hat trick and whatnot, but it was two Rathbone crosses. So it's not like he probably played him out of position on the wing, and just 2 good deliveries. But you can't go into the season with only 1 winger and 1. Well, we have so it's Ferguson and then maybe Kai. But does Kaiki look like he's? It doesn't matter anyway.
No, exactly. Also on Ferguson, sorry, he's not in a pre-season, he's been injured.
Yeah, exactly. So you're looking at very, very, very thin in the wide areas, and then up front you're looking at Hugill, who is ill again. One of the worst immune systems, maybe possibly. and then you've got Kelly and Coyote, who are both inexperienced, like you're saying. So, you know, we are definitely missing a creative player, even in the midfield. I mean, I don't know what this Forest fan's going to say about Cafu, but he doesn't strike me as the creative flair type of player. He strikes me as a bit of, like Mick said, a bit of a combative, you know, can get on it, doesn't mind to get on it and drive with it forward, but doesn't really have the kind of technical ability to shift away from a player. And like Fosu did last season, I know, I wasn't always the biggest fan of Fosu. Sometimes, he'd lose the ball in areas where you think, oh, not again. But other times he'd take on a player and he creates so many chances for us that other players wouldn't. So it's just finding that balance now, I guess. But you've got to remember as well, we've got 2 trialists, we've got this Thierry coming in, and then we've got 5 loans. So we've got potentially more players to come in, and they're not going to be players who are just making up the numbers. They're going to be players who Taylor think are going to compete in the first 11. You look at Cafu, he's Premier League top end Championship quality, and us getting him on a free is I don't know how we've done it, but he's a proper player who won't want to be in League One. And same with Sean Morrison, Grant Hall, Jordan Hugill. None of them are going to want to be in League One because they're not League One players. They will leave if we go down. And with that mentality, if we keep going up from there, I can see us, with 8 extra players in that squad, we're looking good. If I do say so. Where's wood? A touch wood. But yeah,
did say we're going to fully utilise the loan market. I think the phrase he used in the past.
Exactly, so. Yeah, and that's 5. So
exactly, yeah. I think we had 6 in squad last time, so you might even get an extra one in.
And just for the sake of it.
Yeah. As you mentioned, Cafu, let's hear from Mr. Dorr. So we've got a scouting report. We're going to bring the scouting report back this season. We have also got a new intro done for the scouting report. So we have to say thank you to Cartley's Design on Twitter, who got in contact with us. So I've added the music. So if you don't like the music, don't have a go Cartley's. That was me that added the music. But yeah, Mr. Dorr is going to talk to us about Cafu, what kind of player he is. So we'll see you on the other end. So looking at a lot of reaction from the Forest fans, he seems like he maybe wasn't the best player, but he seems very popular amongst you guys. Why is that?
Well, when he first signed for Nottingham Forest, because as you know, we're owners, he runs Olympiacos, and we thought to ourselves, "Oh no, not again! We've got another Olympiacos, another reject. Here we go again." I think it's through lockdown he started, and we thought to ourselves, "Yeah, he's one of the players that he's going to go after one season, blah blah blah," and then out of nowhere, he's signed a 3-year contract with Forest. We thought he hasn't done much, but okay, let's see what he does. Then slowly, because he started, we don't know what his role was. He was either a number 6, 8, or 10. But he had that when you're watching him, he had that oh, okay, he's got something. Not a fantastic player, but he's got something in that can help the team. He had a good interaction with Forest fans off the pitch, but on the pitch, he would do something out of nowhere. He loves his flicks. He loves his flicks. He can do one of them passes. We'll say, "Wow, okay, we've got something," but he had that energy. That energy that all Forest fans want, because, like I said, I could talk about the Olympiacos connection with did he want to be at Forest? That's the thing. But listen, the final season in the Championship with Steve Cooper, he got more game time than anything else. But the role when he played as like I said, 3 different formations that he played for Forest, like I said, especially the number 10 role behind the 2 strikers. He was more dangerous in that number 10 role than in the 6 and 8. But listen, he's great to Forest, and it's just he'll be sadly missed.
Yeah, I mean, they played 45 games over a 3-year period. Is he injury prone, or was it just more selection? He just occasionally didn't get picked.
I think it was more selection than anything else. Was he injured? Not really, but he wasn't selected. Like last season Premier League, he didn't get selected for 25. because we need to improve.
Signs of everybody else.
Yeah. So, but he did play a lot in the championship. Mostly, who was it? Chris Hooton, Steve Cooper. I think that was it, if I'm honest. But like I said, the playoffs, like the season when we were top, like he played a few games there and that. But listen, he had that interaction with Forest fans. Like I said, when he come on, everyone say Cafu, and yeah, that energy. That thing, like all Forest fans want good interaction with players off the pitch, and he did.
Yeah.
Looking enough, I met him after the Peterborough game and spoke since. But listen, is he a player that in that Rotherham team? I think it's one of the things he can be good, but he can frustrate you.
Okay.
but when he's on form, like my opinion, in that number 10 role, 9 out of 10, he'll do something. But then he'll play good, and then 3 games he'll fade away.
Yeah.
That's the Cafu we'll get. But listen, you've got a player that is good enough for the championship. He just needs to be more proactive in that role. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that still makes sense for the sort of pond that we're fishing in. That makes sense. You're gonna get in, especially the championship. You're gonna get inconsistent players, aren't you?
Yeah.
But we certainly need players who can give us that spark. He only won 1 league goal in that time. Would you say he's a goal threat at all, or is he just more of that sort of energetic?
That goal he scored against Swansea away. We won. Was it 4-1? We won 4-1, and it was a good goal. To be honest, I think it was loud to pass back, and he just shot from long range for 24 yards. But that's a problem with being in that number 10 role. I don't want to big him up. Like I said, he can play good in 1 game, and then he'll fade next 3 games. But when he's on it, he gets the fans standing up.
Yeah,
and that. But like I said, I remember pre-season, he scored a goal against Notts County. Everyone stood up when he scored. It was a really good goal.
Yeah.
But listen, he's not like he loves his tricks. He always does a put on twist on his Instagram post when he does his little 1-2s and little flicks past someone. He's one of the players. Like I said, you stand out of his tricks, but sometimes he likes to have a little arguments sometimes for no reason. But listen,
some players it gets them up for it, doesn't it? They just need that.
He needs that. But from a Forest fan point of view, like I said, I've mentioned again, keep mentioning it. We've had so many players from Olympiacos, and he's the only player that has stood out from all the bunch of players that we've had. So you listen, Rotherham, they've got a player, but I think they've got to use him in the right way, in my opinion.
Yeah, Matt Taylor talked. He had a lot of offers apparently on the continent and other. So it seems like Matt Taylor somehow attracted him. So you've got to think. I would think anyway that Matt Taylor's told him how he wants to use him, maybe in a more positive way. If he plays well at number 10 role, maybe that's what he wants to. It's more freedom, more expressive. And if he likes to express himself with the flicks and tricks, number 10's a perfect role, I suppose, isn't it?
Listen, I personally think Rob fans will like him. I'm not just saying that because like I'm a Forest fan and he did well for us and he did little bits for us. But listen, you've got a player that will get Rotherham fans to stand up and play. Like I said, if he's on it, you've got a good player. You need I think he'll suit the championship. I think all Forest fans were a little bit gutted last season because he didn't get that 25-man squad. But I understand, Forest fans understand it because we want players that are up for it. And Cafu, like I said, playing in the championship level, I think he can do something for you lot. But listen, time will tell if you do like him or not.
Yeah, exactly. I assume you weren't particularly surprised that you released him. Bearing in mind the quality you managed to bring in the Premier League, it was inevitable, weren't it? We were going to leave.
Yeah, I think when the 25-man squad came out, it was time to go. From honest, but I think Forest fans have got it because the role that he plays in, when we keep losing games, and all Forest fans will say, "Wish we had Cafu playing," because he's one of them players that it gets everyone talking.
Mm.
He gets everyone talking, and like I said, we can see the Swansea goal. The only goal he scored for Forest. Remember, he scored. He ran towards the Forest fans, and everyone's hugging him, and everyone does the Cafu and all that. He's got that energy, banter, and everything. So listen, I'm not gonna lie, because he could have gone abroad, but I think his family lives it right. Like Rotherham's not far from Nottingham. It's good for him, if I'm honest. But that's why. No disrespect to Rotherham. I'm surprised.
Okay.
Example, Rotherham. I'm not gonna lie, but listen, you've got a good player. He just needs to that energy that I have in Forest. Give it to Rotherham.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's all the questions I have. Is there anything else you want to add about Cafu before we?
He loves a free kick. He loves a free kick. Like I said,
Is he any good at him?
Yeah, he is. Like I said, we had loads of players we would take free kicks, and sadly he didn't get on him. But I remember the goal gets knocked counter. Fantastic taking free kicks, and if I don't know if Rotherham got many free kick takers and that, and if outside the 18-yard box, he's one of them. So listen, you got to watch out for his free kicks. And St. Peters, he is good, but I think, like I said, it's important if Rotherham use him as that number 10 role, you're gonna get someone, because he gives us that energy, and when he gets the ball, like I said, little fancy flicks. Why not? You've got a good player.
There we go. Thank you to Mr. Doe for that. I've put his links in the thing of the YouTube episode. You know what I mean?
In the thing.
In the description of the episode. If you want to see some Forest stuff, go to Mr. Doe. We appreciate him speaking to us and giving us the lowdown on Cafu. Yeah. Thank you very much. Right, let's move on to something else. What else do we need to talk about?
Well, can I just say, it doesn't sound at all then like how I thought he would be. he couldn't stop going on about his tricks and flicks. So maybe he is the sort of player that we need then.
Yeah, it might be. He sounds versatile, doesn't he? He sounds like he can do two or three different roles, which is important. Exactly.
Do you reckon he could cover it right back?
Yeah.
Might need him to.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about right back. Don't forget we've still got Talaji Bowler in there who can perform that role. You know,
left back, isn't he?
He's left back.
I thought he was right back.
No, we still need to talk about right back then.
What have you not watched football for?
Cut that bit out.
The thing is, that makes it worse about that is that you're a big Bowler fan.
I am.
And you forgot which foot he was.
He might play right back.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time since he played. You know.
Yeah. I suppose he was out on loan. I don't think he'd be on to start the season, to be honest. Anyway.
No. Fair enough.
Yeah. Ben, less than 2 weeks before the season starts, how are you feeling about the general mood and before we start with listening to stuff, just the general squad depth?
Yeah, feel good. Yeah, feel all right. I mean, obviously excited. It's like I said, it's so hard to tell because there could be a lot of new faces in the building within a week, and there could be no new faces in the building. So it's kind of hard to gauge what the season's going to be like, to be honest. But I'm excited. Obviously, I'm excited. Football's going to be back, so I'm excited.
Good. It's good, bud. Kim Hill mentions that Sam Todd's away on holiday. Who's going to do the squad announcements, signing announcements? You're assuming we signed them. That's first. And if they're really good, if the squad signing announcements are really, really good over the next couple of weeks, might be replaced. Yeah, that's wait and see. Shelley asks if Foster's still without our club. As far as I know, yes, he is. But we'll wait and see. I'd take Foster back anyway, but certainly with that squad depth, I would take him back and his versatility. Yeah. Let's wait and see on that one.
Would you take any other loan players back?
Keena's
gone permanently to Udinese, I think, so that's a no-go.
Who's that? Sorry,
Keena.
Oh yeah, he has. Yeah. There's nothing dodgy to see there. Him going to Udinese. Nothing dodgy to see there.
Not from what he did.
I'd take Yelda back.
Yeah,
we love Yelda. Who else do we have on loan? Bailey Wright's gone to Singapore.
Yeah,
so he's not coming back.
It's only really Helder and Coventry, isn't it? Really, that are the ones that because we've signed all the others.
Yeah, exactly.
I
take Coventry back.
Yeah.
Moving slightly onto a slightly different topic, Mick. This is a bit out there. This one, I just wanted to mention a few people's moans on Twitter at Radio Sheffield over the last couple of weeks. I don't know if you've seen this, but I think it's worth mentioning and talking about because we've got nothing else to talk about now. We've got a few other bits, but so to fill in people's backstories, obviously we went to Spain, went to Murcia, same place as Sheffield Wednesday, and the club put out a lot of good content, to be honest with you. And the week after, Sheffield Wednesday went to Murcia and Sheffield United are in Portugal. And they've got a full week's coverage, from Radio Sheffield. A lot of Rotherham fans, some Rotherham fans, are quite unhappy with it because it sort of feels like you're prioritising the Sheffield clubs and we were there the week before. Why are you not covering us and the same as them? What are your thoughts and feelings on that? I mean, we've listened to Radio Sheffield more than we have in terms of your life. What are your general thoughts on that? Do you care? Does it matter that in terms of coverage?
Well, I mean, closing title, isn't it? You know, really, it's not Radio Rotherham or Radio Chesterfield or Radio Doncaster or Radio Barnsley, is it? You know, it's Radio Sheffield. And whilst they do cover South Yorkshire and North Midlands, it's Radio Sheffield. I don't have an issue with it. I don't have an issue with it at all. You know, they've got they're a sports department that will have a set budget, and so as a consequence, they are going to prioritise things like this for the clubs with the most supporters, i.e., the most listeners. What it's a business in that sense, so why would you not? You know, I don't have an issue with it, and some of the stuff that Rob Staten does for Rotherham United off air. You know, certainly with the Legends Nights and stuff like that, I have no issue with it. You know, they've got a job to do, and they're going to do what the vast majority of broadcasters do, and that's, I don't want to use the word pander to, but you know what I mean, the biggest audience.
I mean, to be fair, Sheffield United are a Premier League club.
Yeah, so exactly. And Sheffield Wednesday are the show that we all know that they are at the moment. So there's going to be loads of news coming out of there because it's such a mess. Yeah. So, you know, it makes perfect sense to me. And you know, we've got plenty of stuff coming out of the club in terms of our trip away. When did this become a massive thing that we all needed to know every nut and bolt of a pre-season tour? You know, it's not a thing, is it? The team's gone away. They've played a friendly against Elche. They've done a bit of training in Sun. What else do we need to know?
They've done Glove Island. Did nobody else see
that? Which, to be honest with you, I have to say, if nobody's watched it, get yourself on Twitter.
It's actually really good.
Glove Island, because it is probably the best content. I tell you now, I can absolutely 100% guarantee it's 10 times better than any content that Radio Sheffield put out about either of the Sheffield clubs. 10 times better. Yeah. So, you know, I don't have an issue with it. I think we all like to moan, don't we? And there has been a lot of stuff on Twitter recently which it started to become abusive between supporters of your own club. And I just find it's just unnecessary and a bit childish, really, isn't it? You know,
there's just a lot of uncertainty in the minute as well.
Yeah, but I think it's just an extension of this issue with Radio Sheffield going and covering them. It's just an extension of that, isn't it? We've got to have something to moan about. Wow, no, who cares? Really?
Yeah. All thing I would say is I agree with you. They've got a set budget and you've got to pick and choose. The only thing I would say is it doesn't look great that you've gone to pick two clubs, and one of your other clubs has got. I'm not digging out the way it looks. Might not. It's probably why there's been a bit of complaint about it. If I step back, I can understand that a little bit, but at the same time, they might as well just not gone. You're right; these kind of things are basically pointless anyway. What information did they come out? A couple of good interviews with a manager and maybe a player. Yeah, that's it.
I get what you're saying there, Matt. But is it really worth getting out of bed about? You know what I mean?
Oh no, definitely not.
Oh, they followed United Wednesday. Oh, that's it. That's the end of that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Look, everybody's got their opinions on it. John says, who listens to radio anymore with social media the way it is nowadays?
Well, absolutely. You know, if you want content for your club, whoever that club is, you know, there's loads of social media content. There's podcasts of just about every other club now. United and Wednesday have got loads, and it's going to be fun. And that content, without wanting to sound like I'm making us sound good or whatever, it's going to be far more tailored to your club. You know, the podcasts for any club don't have, unless they're an official podcast, don't have to follow any sort of agenda. You know, they don't have to say the right things, or so. You know, you can get an independent view of what's going off, rather than just having to have the same old platitudes trotted out by managers or players. You know, we're looking after the next game. That's all we're interested in. All that sort of nonsense. You know, so John's absolutely right. There's so much content out there now that your local radio stations are fighting for listeners, fighting for clicks, and a lot of them are losing. So whatever.
Yeah, John Hensby says that they could have covered hours of the back end, which again I don't necessarily disagree with it. That's fine.
The bottom line with it is, what else are you going to get out of it that you haven't already got out of it?
That's the only thing I would say. Yeah.
All we're saying here is it's a principle. Well, what? Really? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't, does it?
Move on.
I get what you mean.
Yeah. Tom, anything to add on that? I think it's.
No, I agree with Mick. And I agree with you as well. I think what it is it's a justified reaction, but maybe a bit too extreme considering what more they would have done. Would they interviewed Taylor twice and a player once, and that's the more content that we got. And it's, you know, it doesn't matter. I don't really care to listen to. Well, you know, I care, but if likewise that they've not done that, I don't care. But I do get the meaning around the principle and the justification behind it. But I'm with you guys in that it doesn't really faze me.
Yeah, Ben, is there any point in me asking you?
No, I didn't even know people still listen to radio, if I'm being honest.
No, I didn't know this was a thing.
No, but to be fair, I don't always listen to Radio Sheffield, but I listen to their pre and post match interviews with the manager and things like that. So,
I think on match day definitely, but like if I'm like going somewhere, then I won't have radio on.
Yeah,
I don't even have to get it on, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. Dominic Carwood says rumours today that Piggy's manager has walked. He talked about content and who's going to listen to Radio Sheffield, which club about. Well, Sheffield Wednesday are. We'll leave that where it is for now, because I have seen the rumours, but I don't know anything else about it. So let's wait and see what happens there.
No way.
Yeah, there are rumours. Let's see.
Already.
I know. Let's move on before. Let's move on. Right. We asked a few days ago for a few fan questions to pop in, basically just hypotheticals and fun stuff, basically. Especially while there's so little to talk about in the club. So we've got a few questions. We'll start with this question, which is from Alfie. This was from email. Alfie emailed us. The first question he wants to ask us: would you accept, or would you be happy with Saudi owners? That's obviously fairly topical, with Saudi Arabia buying all of football at the minute. Ben, thoughts? It's an ownership question rather than necessarily a Saudi thing. Does it matter who owns your football club?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, because it matters, because then people make the decisions. I don't think they're going to make decisions that's best for Rotherham United. They're going to make decisions that's best for them. And what's going to bring in, they're going to look at it as a business rather than well, I guess Tony Stewart looks at it as a business, but it's different, isn't it? It's just different. You can't really put it into words. It's just different.
That is really helpful for a podcast.
Well, yeah, they're not gonna. If the club goes down, they're not gonna try with everything they've got to keep it afloat, are they?
Yeah, the heart's not in it, is what you're trying to say.
No, like if we get relegated, it's like, oh well, how are we going to get back up, rather than we're going to be distraught. And if we get up, if we get promoted, it's like, oh, good.
If we go down, that's the investment gone.
Yeah, they're not really going to care about the fans. That's it. They're not going to care about the fans. That's it.
Yeah.
There you go. We got there at end. A long roundabout way, but we got there at end.
Yeah.
Mick, any thoughts on that?
I think you summed it up, didn't you? They're just about bought all the football at the moment. All sounds a bit too good to be true to me. And we all know things are never too good to be true, are they? You know, there's always a catch. And unless you're a club like City or Newcastle who can quite easily get 50,000 fans through the door every week, then it's pretty much a pointless exercise, I would argue, because it's not going to be commercially viable for them. The only way it would be viable for owners with that amount of money, and I'm not suggesting this is exclusively Saudi, but any owners with that kind of money, the only way a club like Rotherham United will be viable will be for some nefarious purpose in terms of laundering money or whatever. You know, I don't think because it's not, you know, we're not going to get 25,000 fans through the door every week and start pushing for Premier League. It's just not going to happen because of the size of the club and the area that we're in. So, you know, I just don't think commercially, unless there is an ulterior motive, I don't think commercially Rotherham United at the moment, as it stands, is an attractive proposition. In a few years' time, when a lot of these other clubs who are chasing the dream go out of business or end up in League Two with points deductions and everything else, and it kind of sorts the wheat out from the chaff in terms of the well-run clubs, then it might be a different matter for Rotherham United. But at the moment, I think the only way that we would be viable for any significant investment, whether it be from Saudis or anywhere else, would be somebody looking to do something dodgy. Personally, that's my view.
What I found.
He's going to give me something dodgy. He's going to give me the definition of dodgy.
Be careful asking for that for certain.
Yeah.
Without wanting to take this too deep, Tom, also there's particularly with Saudi Arabia and some other similar countries in the area, there's sensitive issues, there's sort of human rights issues and things like that, which I'm not going to go too deep into because this is it's not a relevant Rotherham at the minute, but that also for me matters. From looking at Newcastle, they're going to win the Champions League in 5 years. Yeah, but there's that stuff, and it just feels a bit wrong.
Yeah, how their away kit is the Saudi Arabia kit as well.
But they're not owned by Saudi Arabia. Don't forget that. Not technically. You're right. It matters about what the owner's integrity, so to say, and who they are. Because, like Ben said, if an oligarch comes in and buys a club and they purely just see it as a business, and in that way it's never going to be anything more than a business. As soon as you're doing well, you'll fly and your profits are going up. As soon as you're not doing well, you sell and you get out while your stocks are down. So if the rich and famous come in and buy a club, I mean, you can look at what Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney did with Wrexham. And although the amount of money that they're pumping is unfair to, the teams around them, because it just is. They're buying some obscene players, but they're doing it in a way that is making Wrexham, quite whole again kind of thing. And the money that they're pumping in, they're not doing it because they see it as a business. They see it as a culture and all this. Whereas a lot of businessmen come in with the amount of money that they have and view it as a business. So I'd say no. I'd say where we are is perfect, and getting investments through player sales and shirt sales and just little investments here and there from other companies is just the way that football's meant to be run. That's all I can really say on it.
The Wrexham one's quite an interesting one because it does, on the face of it, look really unfair that they've got all this money being pumped in. But when I speak to a Wrexham fan quite regularly, and a lot of the money is going into the community rather than just the football.
Yeah, it is.
There appears to be quite a lot of regeneration work going on around the club and the town itself. Around the town itself related to the club, but nevertheless, it's not just about buying a football club and buying some success. It looks like something a little bit more than just that plastic woman rolling into St James's Park and kicking everybody else out and spending as much money as they want to do.
They're improving the team rather than buying a new one.
It does feel different. It does definitely feel different.
No, I agree with that.
Agreed. Next one is from J-Boy. This is one for everybody, really. I think I'm going to put the comments in as well. If you could change/add one thing to New York Stadium, what would it be and why? Ben?
Oh, why start with me?
Ben can go last.
Thank
I
you.
told you the
Thank
question
you.
before we started the show. To give
I
you time to
know.
think. It's fine.
I know,
No.
but I forgot.
I forgot to be fair.
Tom, have you got anything?
Well, I mean, the stadium foundation is the stadium's pretty good, and I think a lot of other teams and a lot of other managers and coaches and players, etc., say how good the stadium is. So that in itself, it's a good stadium. Nothing really needs to be changed, like needs to be. But in terms of wanting it to be, I've always thought. I don't know if anyone else agrees, but I've always thought that the away stand is a bit big. Having a whole stand, just I don't know. It's if you could get more home fans in, that'd be a bit better. But then again, I don't know where the away fans would go. Maybe have a corner rather than a whole stand. I don't know. But the only other thing that I see and kind of agree with is a kind of singing standing section, which I think would appease a lot of fans and make them want to go more. And simply because it'll be a bit more wholesome and you can enjoy it a bit more and whatnot. But in terms of better drainage. No, I'm kidding. No, I don't know. I'm quite happy with the way it is. In terms of little things here and there, maybe the catering needs to be better because some of that is horrific. But I'm quite content with it.
John Hensby goes opposite to you, says bigger away end, money, sell more away, especially the championship.
Yeah.
Shellstone says proper queuing and concessions. Shelley says this is like a word to be fair, better exit strategy. The exit strategy is horrific. But I don't think it's the club, is it? I'm pretty sure it's the police, I think. Adrak, and this is what I'm going to come, which you mentioned, make the cop standing only, it would add 50%. I think safe standing, Mick, it's the way back forward. It allows much more freedom. You generally get a better atmosphere because people who want to sing can stand together, and then that generates and sort of builds out and spreads. I think I don't know how cost effective it is, to be honest with you, but that's what I certainly would like to see. Anything from you?
Well, yeah, I've got something I would like to change, but on the subject of safe standing, when we went to Cardiff, their safe standing were a bit weird because it basically were just barriers with seats, so it didn't really make any sense to me at all, to be honest with you. However, when we went across to Hammarby, they had that was all standing, or the area that we were in, that was safe standing, and it certainly it is better, if particularly if you like that kind of thing. I personally, given my age, I need to sit down because I had to rest my weary knees after 20 minutes. But I were only able to do it there because I was drunk. But, not quite the same at New York. But yeah, I think it's a good idea. I don't see any reason why, given the safety measures that are in place now, that we shouldn't be able to try that. I don't know about the costs involved with that. But my answer to the question is catering. For me, get rid of it. It's absolutely awful. It's dreadful. Everything about it is dreadful. And I know it's been outsourced, and I'm not sure what the name of the company is, but it's just embarrassing. It really is embarrassing. The quality, the service, it's just dreadful. And you go down at half time to get a drink or a pie or whatever, and you feel like you're putting people out. You feel like you just feel, I don't know. It's just awful. You're not treated like a customer. You're treated like somebody to just get out of the way, sod off, leave me alone. I don't want to. And then when you do get whatever it is you buy, whether it's a burger or a pie, pies are burnt, sausage rolls are burnt. The burgers aren't cooked. If you just get somewhere in between for all of them, it'd be nice. But you get raw burgers and burnt pies. It's just honestly, it's absolutely awful. I don't know what it's like. I clearly don't know what it's like in the way end, but it's just woeful. And it feels like you're treating the supporters just as not even as high as second class citizens. Really, you're just like pigs in a trough. It's horrible. So for me, that would be one of the things I would look to change. You know, there's so many options available now, aren't there? You know, wherever you go to, well, wherever you go, there's different options available. They're both inside and outside the ground. There's loads and loads of small businesses who'll be more than happy to take up one or two of those kiosks on a Saturday afternoon and provide their own food.
Oh, well, Daniel's put that. But I'll allocate the food kiosks, different local businesses, different food offerings each week. Businesses get great exposure. They care about what they're serving because it then grows their business, unlike the current situation. You'll see a lot of clubs now do sort of the street food type things, different types of food in and around the stadium. Doesn't feel hard to sort out. Don't know. Yeah. Basically, everybody agrees with me. Shelley says 1,000% better catering. Maybe they use the spare units as a bar or something for extra revenue. Would be ideal somehow incorporate guest crowds. I think they are doing a bar, aren't they? Has that been done, or is it still working on that?
I think the issue with having a bar is it's only going to be open once a week, or maybe possibly twice every fortnight. So you might have an issue in terms of keeping beer and stuff like that. I don't know how that would work logistically. I can't see it being open, obviously, on non-match days. It's too far out of town to be a regular haunt. So it would only be a match day thing, and I don't know whether there'd be some logistical issues or whatever in terms of being able to keep beer. I don't know. No idea.
No. Ben, anything?
I'd make all the stands equal height. It kind of messes my OCD a little bit. Like the pound to Ben Bennett. So I'd make it all
but then it would just be a standard boring bowl.
Yeah, but it won't mess my OCD then.
Okay. So, Tony, if you're listening, Ben's OCD is kicking in. So what you're saying is you don't need any extra seats. You just need lifting a bit.
Oh yeah, we might as well get some extra seats in.
Okay. That's pretty funny.
Fair enough.
That's a good shout.
Yeah. Basically, everything's saying the same thing. Catering is a big issue. I think that's right. Mick, this one's for you. Which ref is Mick going to moan at the most? Well, as far as I've seen, Keith Strauss not retired, so I assume Mick it's probably going to be our mate Keith.
Well, surely they're going to demote him to League One.
Isn't he in Prem? Hasn't he gone up to Prem?
Yeah, he might have.
Bond.
Bond. Is that Bond?
Listen, I just hope that the standards improved. I can't believe I just said that. I mean, it's clearly not going to happen, is it? But well, it's not, and because you've got the same faces in there. But not only that, you've also got we're coming up to 2 weeks before the season, so we're probably 3 weeks before we decide on a rule change. But we're sort of 2 or 3 weeks away from deciding on complicating a very simple rule, whatever it is. I don't know. They'll choose to complicate this season, and make it even more difficult for the referees to make decisions. I've been thinking.
By the way, this is off topic, but have you seen the Women's World Cup where they're explaining the VAR decisions?
I've seen one. I've seen it once. Yeah, and I'm all for that. I think that's I'm comfortable with that. Albeit they can't get them right all the time, can they? But listen, if they're explaining the decisions, I don't have an issue with it. But I was thinking about it earlier on, and I do feel bad at times for calling referees out for some of the decision making, but and the reason being because everything's just been made more and more complicated season on season on season, and to make a decision on an offside or a handball immediately is almost impossible because you're running through 7 or 8 bullet points first of all before you dare even consider putting your whistle to your mouth. It's just not doable any longer, the way that the rules are being fannied about with week after week, season after season. It's just not right. But I shall be moaning at Keith Stroud. Make no mistake about that, because Keith will just give us something to moan about, won't he?
That's what it does. That's what it does. Will says, Grant McCann's talking about implementation of a World Cup style added time. Get ready for 105-minute games. I am all aboard for that. That's exactly what they should be doing. The World Cup, the Men's World Cup and the Women's World Cup is so much better for it. We talk about cricket losing time. There's sport needs to gain back the time it's losing, and that is bang on. They should be doing that.
The problem with that is if you had, let's say there is 6 minutes. Let's say 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. You pick a number, mate.
I
You
said
go for
10
it.
minutes. That's 460 extra minutes in a season. Do you know how hard that is on the human bodies? How many games that we've already got to play?
But in
That's not
theory,
bad.
it shouldn't be, though, should it? Because you should be playing that in the first place.
Mm,
But you don't. You've got cup competitions as well that could go to extra time. I think that's a lot to ask from people.
I'm going to start calling you
in
Jurgen
my
Klopp.
opinion. No, well, you play 46 games within the space of 6 months, and then come back to me.
Imagine if you're a Gareth Ainsworth team. Imagine how many extra minutes you were playing then.
oh,
Yeah,
God.
but
Like
they
another
don't.
full
They're not
season.
intense. To be fair, we don't have the intense pressing style that we did last year, so it's not as bad. But if you're a team that presses and you got to play that many minutes, like,
But,
there's so much
in
you can
theory,
do.
you shouldn't lose it. So if you have 10 extra minutes, that's because you haven't played 10 minutes in that 90. So it shouldn't be more, should it? Shouldn't.
Yeah, but I mean, well, it is more.
The issue you've got is consistency in it, and that's going to be the problem. You're going to get some referees adding it on, some referees adding more on than they should, less on than they should, some not adding any on at all. The timekeeping needs to be independent of the referee in reality to prevent that. So
easily done, to be fair, but another topic. Final question is from there in the comments earlier. For Jamie says, didn't like seeing Kyoso. Bring it back to sort of present day. Peter Kyoso's gone out on loan for the season, Tom. I'll be honest, personally, I'm not surprised. I do like him, but he didn't play. Matt Taylor never seemed to fancy him. I think it's a good move for Kyoso. Go get some minutes in League Below.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I genuinely thought he would be nailed on to be our starting right back this season, so I'm surprised that he's gone, but only in that regard. If he's gone, there's probably a reason behind it, because Taylor doesn't see him as his first choice right back, so fair enough. Maybe it's because of his minutes, maybe it's because of his he's a bit more injury prone, but he's gone to a side that Peterborough are going to be looking to get automatic to the Championship, aren't they? So it's not like there's a huge difference in quality between us. So it's just getting the confidence back, getting the fitness back, getting the minutes in. But yeah, I just think it should be a good move for him. Hopefully he does well as well. And even then, if he does do well and comes back for us and does well for us, or then goes somewhere else again, he's still young, isn't he? So he needs to do well wherever he goes.
Charles Sohn says, sorry to see him go. Even more sorry to see him go to Peterborough. I wonder what Alan Swan will feel about it. Bear in mind, he's hatred for Rotherham, but he's obviously love for Peterborough United. So I wonder how he's going to feel. Must be very conflicted, having to like a Rotherham player. Ben, thoughts on Kyoso? To be fair, we didn't see him much last season. The bits we saw, he did okay. For me, he did fine, but he didn't play anywhere near enough for me to think, I'm gutted.
No, but I mean, when we haven't really got a right back at club, I've got one right back at club. It's a bit confusing. I thought he was going to play. I thought he was all right when he did play. I know he's not really one to keep fit, is he? He's a bit injury prone, but I don't know. I mean, who would you rather want playing right back, Kyoso or Cafu?
Not the Brazilian Cafu,
Mick, I know you're a pretty big fan of Kyoso. You just like right backs, don't you? I think that's it.
I think I probably do, yeah. Yeah, so if you throw it back to me, Jerry Forrest days, I like Jerry Forrest.
Thoughts?
Yeah, disappointed to see him go out on loan. And like Cheryl said, I'm even more disappointed to see him go to Peterborough, because I would hate to do Dara any sort of favours whatsoever, frankly. But it is what it is, isn't it? If it's best for him and best for the club, then so be it. He clearly thinks it's best for him, and if Matt Taylor thinks that's the case as well, and it suits the club, then happy days. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens in terms of who he brings in to as a replacement.
Yeah. We're going to a bit longer, but I think we should also mention Jerry Yates going to Swansea. And us getting a reported £500,000, roughly 500, but maybe not all. That might be a lump sum, but we'll get around £500,000 for Jerry Yates. The club get a lot of stick, and sometimes rightly so, in terms of deals that we set up for players. The money that we take for players. But as it turns out, the deal we did for Jerry Yates was a really good deal. We've got 500k. But I think we've got a little bit of money to start with. So, for what he did for us, which was nothing, that's a lot of money for a kid who's come to academy. I think we should praise the club a little bit on that one.
Yeah.
Goodbye to Wes. Wes has officially gone, even though he officially went 2 months ago. He's now officially gone. Put his goodbye notice on Twitter, and he's gone to Millwall. Again, Wes is the biggest fan. For Wes, it's a great move. It's a solid championship team. He won't be fighting the bottom end of the table, will he?
No, he won't. He won't. And he's a good player, and I like him a lot. And good luck to him. I've seen some people moaning about the fact that in his farewell he didn't say anything to fans or something or other. I don't know. Just like, oh, please stop it now. Just stop it. The lad's had a good time while he's been here. He's been a good servant to this club. While he's been here, he's given his all, and he's progressing his career. He's moving up the championship table. Well, it will do if we finish in the same positions we did last season. We don't know what's going to happen, do we? But no, good luck to him. If he didn't want to stay, he didn't want to stay. He's going to get better wages at Millwall than he's going to get at Rotherham United. So he's just going to have to put up with all the other collateral issues that Millwall into.
Yeah, move on quickly from that one.
Yeah, move on from that.
I think I've done. I don't think we've got anything else. Anything else you want to mention, go through, talk about? I think we're just about done.
I think we should just thank the RUFC for his input into the new intro and outro. Thank you very much for that. And also to Lee from LPMC for allowing us to use his music for it as well, which is really great. Really appreciate it.
Yes, we do very much so. And I'm like I mentioned, thank you to Carter Design for the scouting report intro, which we'll be using going forward when we speak to opposition fans, which we'll try and do a bit more of in the season ahead. There we go. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being with us. We've got an hour and 6 minutes out of that, so well done, everybody who's stuck with us. That's a good one.
Is that just a pat on back for ourselves? So we managed to jabber on for an hour and 6 minutes.
Yeah. Go on, Jamie. Jamie's got one last one. Expectations for Tom Eaves this season. I think this is going to be very quick. Does any one of you three expect Tom Eaves to play more than 15 minutes for Robin this season?
I don't expect him to be here, to be honest. I think he'll go.
I agree. Completely agree.
I can't see him staying. He's not even been mentioned anywhere at any point.
He's conveniently got an injury, hasn't he? And that might not be convenient. He might be actually injured, but feels a bit convenient for me. Ben?
Same. I don't think he'll be here.
Mick?
No, I suspect his Rotherham United days are done.
Which is a shame for him. But
yeah, it is a shame.
Yeah. Please do subscribe on YouTube. If you haven't done already, please do subscribe on the YouTube channel. We will be back, don't know, probably Sunday, but we may be back sooner than that if we can. It's prediction time soon. We're in 2 weeks or less than the season, so it's time to get our predictions out very, very shortly. So I don't know when we'll do that over the next week or two before the prediction season starts, obviously. So we'll keep an eye on the socials. So follow us on Twitter and Facebook and everything else on there. If you're on iTunes, Spotify, make sure you give us a 5-star rating and subscribe on there as well to download the episodes if that's where you're listening. Benjamin, it's been a pleasure to have you back with us. Your facial hair has been noted.
We've got the same, basically, so I don't know what you're on about. You just got a little bit on the side, so
it's not the same.
Nobody can see this bit on you, Ben, on the video. Nobody can see the calumnies.
Yeah, not bad. If you listen to the audio, just go and have a look at Ben's tash. Yeah, there you go.
Go and look at Matt's tash as well.
Man, let's move on.
Mine's better.
Yeah, it is. I'm not defending myself on this one. Anyway, Tom, thank you for being with us tonight. Appreciate it, mate.
Yeah, anytime. It's a pleasure.
And Nick, thank you very much. It'll be soon to take that Hamby shirt off and swap it with a Rotherham one because the summer season's nearly done.
I might have to wash it.
Good. Thank you, everybody.
Going up there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see. We will. It's been a pleasure. We'll up the Millers, and we'll see you next time, whenever that is. Thank you very much, everybody.
Cheers.
Slides into Wales through a goal, slots it beyond Fodringer, and the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box, Adoffin, he can hit them, and he does. McGoffin has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United secured their chance